Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. You ever wonder how you can make your kick sound a little bit more explosive? Well, don't go nowhere, man. You in the right place. Yo, what it is, YouTube? It's your boy Nitsa coming back with another banger of a video here today on the channel. I want to talk about how you guys can give a little bit of reinforcement to your kick in a mix in a very musical way, and how to help your kick and 808 interact a little bit better. So they're not clashing, they're not fighting, they're in harmony, and they're helping contribute to a massive solid low end together in your mix. So let's jump right into the video here today. I have a little beat that one of my friends sent me today, and he said that he wanted me to check the beat, right? So he's seeing that when he's in the studio making the beat, he's got his little rockets, his little rocket fives. They sound great. The low end sounds solid. But when he goes out in the real world, where a lot of the music is being consumed nowadays, AirPods, laptop speakers, etc., he's feeling like he's losing punch. He's losing low end. So I feel like this would be a really relatable topic to talk about today. Some things that we can do to help get our low end correct. So let's play the beat first and look into this. I'm gonna play it for y'all right now. Okay, so you guys get the main idea, right? One of the things that I'm analyzing when I listen to this little loop, right? All of the other instruments are hidden, but I'm just isolating these two parts right now, right? I'm noticing that it doesn't sound like sonically the kick and the 808 are working together in harmony. And it sounds like that kick needs a little bit of reinforcement, a little bit of push. So the very first thing that I want to go over today is fundamental frequency. What is fundamental frequency? Let's talk about that. The fundamental frequency, right? Every instrument has a fundamental frequency, and your brain uses that fundamental frequency to identify how far something is and how big something is, right? So let's think about it in nature. If you were in the nature, right? If you were in the wild, this is something that we had to develop through natural adaptation as human beings, right? Imagine if you was in the wild and all you heard was grrr. You would be like, you don't know what it is and where it's coming from, but you know it's big and you know it has size. And your brain uses that mid bass to identify size. So there's different frequencies, right, on the spectrum that mean different things. So the very first thing that I want to do here today is I want to use something along the lines of maybe like a frequency analyzer, right? I'm just using a fat filter. You can use whatever you want. Waves also has the pass analyzer, right? But what I like to do is I like to solo the kick and figure out where is the most energy at, right? Try to figure out where is the fundamental frequency at. So let's solo it and kind of hear where it's coming from. Okay, so when we look around, we're seeing that the fundamental frequency, or most of the energy for this kick, is coming from about 0 to 50 hertz, right? Different instruments, maybe like a clap, its fundamental frequency would be a little bit higher on the spectrum. That's why you can roll off the low end on a clap to make space, but your ear will still be able to identify, okay, this is the clap, because that fundamental frequency is there. The next thing that I do, right, I'm going to create a side chain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little side chain, right? I'm going to make a little bit of space for this kick with inside of the 808, right? So the very first thing I do is I do like a bus, right? I pick a mono bus, right? Like any random one. And then I just apply it to the send of the kick track, right? So it's going to be the trigger track. Then I put the I put it on full send, so I'm getting the whole level, and then we put it on pre-fader, right? Make sure you enable your sidechain, right, for the kick trigger. Then you want to go over here to a dynamic EQ. You can use any dynamic EQ that you want, but the main reason we're going to be using the dynamic EQ is because we want it to only trigger when the kick is coming through. So with the static EQ, it wouldn't be good because it wouldn't work. It would pretty much just cut it out, all that frequency from the 808 all the time. And we don't want to lose punch, we want to gain punch. So that's why we are going to be using a dynamic EQ, right? So then you want to go to your dynamic EQ, pick your trigger bus, right? And make sure your sidechain is on external, right? Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little sweep around, kind of using the range of that fundamental frequency. We understand where the energy of the kick is at, and we wanna make a space inside of the 808 for it. So let's do a little frequency sweep, right? And try to hear wherever you get a displeasant feeling, all right? It's really hard to hear, but you gotta follow your heart, and wherever you get a displeasant feeling, the clashing is there, okay? So we're using the range to get us in that area, then we're gonna use our gut feeling to tell us where it's really at. All right, so after you sweep around, I kind of landed at 40, right? Which is in that range, like I said, the 0 to 50. But remember, all different instruments have different fundamental frequencies. So specifically for the kick, a good rule of thumb is somewhere around 0 to about 60 or maybe 50 hertz, okay? Which is good. So with the dynamic EQ, it's only ducking when the kick is hitting, right? And when I originally learned about this, like the very first time I learned about sidechaining, what people told me is that you should do a high pass filter for the whole thing. That is not what you want to do. Let's look at the Q, which is very important. You should set your Q. Let's look at what an awkward shaped Q, what it can do when you take out the sub-harmonic frequencies. Even though you really can't hear 10, 20, you need it. I'm telling you, you need it. It's the balls of your mix. Do not let that go easily. So let me show you really quickly. Let's play around with the Q and hear it, okay? So with the Q like that, that's too wide, you're gonna be losing your subharmonic frequency. So you wanna land at something that's slightly narrowed. Just, you're pretty much just trying to take out the fundamental frequency of what the kick is, take that out of where the 808, you know, that clashing part, right? So you're gonna enhance it that way alone, just because now there's not no more frequency masking, right? It's not the two same sets of frequencies playing over and over again. So alone, off of that, off of us doing this alone, we've already added more punch. So let's listen to it right away. All right, so now that we kind of already got our kick, we've got room in our 808 for our kick. So they're working in harmony. They're no longer arguing. They're no longer fighting, right? What I have right here is a stereo bus, which I call a punch bus. So essentially with our punch bus, what we do is we create a auxiliary send, right? A parallel, right? And what we're gonna be doing is that we're gonna be using a resonance booster, right? This is a very popular plugin known as the voice of God, right? Pretty much. What it does is, I'm gonna put up a visual of what it does, but it does like a high pass filter and a notch boost. So like very specific. I would compare this to a magnifying glass of audio. That's what you can see it as. Versus where a pull tech is like a telescope, right? They both have the same function. They both do, you can do the boost and cut like a pull tech, right? But with the little labs, pretty much, The little labs allows you to get very precise. You can use it on vocals, all types of stuff like that. Okay, so you have to pay for this, like $79, but I'm gonna drop the link to the free alternatives, which is Bark of Dog. Bark of Dog, it actually allows you to get a little bit more frequency range, which is pretty good. The most you can get on this Voice of God is like only what? Like 200 hertz, which is good for a kick, but if you want to use it for other stuff, Bark of Dog is the way to go, and it's free. So the one I'm gonna be using today, right, is the same thing. It is the Brainworks sub filter, right? So let's get rid of this right here. Okay, so let me explain to you what the punch bus is. What you want to do is you want to use either a transient designer or whatever can help you isolate the initial knock of the kick. Boom, boom, boom. That first thump, that's what we want to get, right? We want to enhance that because we're going to get a little bit of that low end from the kick that we just replaced or took out of the 808, right? Because we're sidechaining it, right? So I use RVox. Pretty simply, I just did a gate. When you start off at 0, and it's gonna take the punch out of the kick, and you want to add it a little bit, little by little, little by little, little by little, until it gets you to where it's tight. So kind of let me show you real quick. So we're doing that to isolate the transient. Any longer gate than that, we would be adding the sustain of the kick, and we don't really need that because we already have a kick that's working, right? So we're good, okay? Now the next thing you want to use is this resonant filter. So with this Brainworks resonance filter right here, what it's gonna do is that high pass filter and that boost, kind of like a pull text, something like that, but very precise. We will use this to locate the fundamental frequency where we're gonna juice it up at. Remember what I was talking about. We took out punch from the 808. We're gonna add it back into the kick, the meat, the body, the balls of the kick. So let's bypass it and let's hear it. So when you hear that, you want to start it off at a high low end boost, right? So you can hear what's going on. You want to hear what it is. So I kind of landed at originally I landed at 38, and then what you want to do is you just want to pull it back a little bit. These filters are all different. You know, they all have different levels of boost, right? So what you want to do after that, now you got it all done. Now you added a little bit punch. You want to just mix it into it, whatever you feel like sounds good. Mix it into it. So let's hear it. So with this punch bus, what we've done is we've given positive reinforcement to our kick. We've given our kick the green light to cut through. Boom, 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 cut through. So now our kick is taking prominence. The fundamental frequency is letting us know there's actually more energy here. There's more size. There's more proximity effect of the kick. Now you can feel it in your chest. Now it feels like it's closer, okay? Really quickly, YouTube, I'm going to push this a little bit harder, so you can hear exactly what this is doing. You will not get this same effect if you just boost up the kick. Trust me. Because the kick is just going to give you all that other stuff that you don't really want. We're isolating the transient. We want thud. We want points. We want bop, 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 bop. We don't want boom, boom. We want bop, bop, quick, transient. So let me push it a little bit hard and show you what I'm talking about. can hear what it's doing contrasted against that original kick. That original kick is not giving us that. It's giving us body, but this is giving us precise knot, precise transient. And that transient is cutting through that 808. It's cutting through the whole mix and giving it prominence, right? So really quickly, I want to disable everything and compare it to how we originally had the low end to how we have it now really quickly. Let's listen one more time. So you guys, let me know how you felt about this video. Try this technique out and see how it works, okay? I just want to say thanks a lot. I really do appreciate you, my YouTube family. We got more content coming up. Love you guys. Peace.